For some people, hitting the lottery jackpot can be the most life-changing experience. It only costs $2 to buy a lottery ticket, and yet it gives people the hope of financial freedom. In 2003, a lottery ticket was printed but never redeemed, which leads us into three main questions. 1, where is the missing ticket? How much is it worth? And 3, do you want to find it? This week on EDI Sports Show. There are 3 questions we want to answer in this week's show. Where is the missing ticket? How much is it worth? And 3, do you want to find it? But before we get into those questions, I have to reveal a little secret for you. Yes, this isn't a regular lottery ticket. No, this is not a Mega Millions. This is not a Powerball. It's not even a scratch-off. This is a sports card. Yes, a sports card, because what's happened is the hobby has turned itself into a lottery. And so I'm going to show you this card. This is what it is. This is the LeBron James 2003 Upper Deck Ultimate Collection. It is a one-of-one. It is a patch logo man plus signature from LeBron James. There is only one in the world, and it is missing. Yes, I know, missing. So the question is, where is it? How much is it worth? And do you want to find it? Now that we know what the lottery ticket looks like, the question is, where is it hiding? And so the answer to that question is these boxes. The 2003 Upper Deck Ultimate Collection wax box. Now, there aren't that many left out in the world, but there are a few. And the question is, can you get a hand on one of these boxes? And actually, that's what I'm asking you guys. If you know someone that has one of these boxes, will you get in contact with me either at X or on IG, EDI Sports Cards, because I want to talk to you. But now that we know where it is, the question becomes, how much is it worth? In order to answer this question, we first need to understand the market first. Now, if you're new to sports cards, you might think that these 2 athletes are actually the most expensive cards. That's Michael Jordan in basketball and Wayne Gretzky in hockey, because they are 2 of the most famous athletes in the entire world. But actually, that's not true. This 1986 rookie card for Michael Jordan in a PSA 10, which is the highest grade possible, is only worth around $200,000. Now, the Wayne Gretzky is a little bit different because this is an OPC card. This is from Canada, and it was not printed as much as the other cards. And because of that, this card actually sold for a whopping $3.7 million. But those are not the most expensive cards in the hobby, which is why I want to go over the 5 most expensive cards right now. In order to figure out how much this LeBron James 101 card is actually worth, we need to look at the 5 most expensive cards right now in the hobby. And so these are the top 5. Number 1 is the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle card. It is estimated to be worth around $40 million. Now that is a PSA 10, and there are only 3 in the world. Now the second card is the T206 Honus Wagner. This sold for $7.25 million. Again, that's the second most valuable card in the hobby. We also have the 1914 Babe Ruth, which sold for $7.2 million. The 2003 Upper Deck Exquisite LeBron James sold for $5.2 million. And then 2018 Panini National Treasures Logo Man Luka Doncic, that sold for $4.6 million. So those are the 5 most valuable cards in the hobby right now. And so now that we know that, how much do you think that this LeBron James card is worth? I'm here at the Collectibles on College card show in Tempe, Arizona to find out that answer. How much do you think the LeBron James is worth?
Well, you have what I would do to try to come up with a value with that is look at other examples. But who kind of compares to LeBron in that aspect? There's not really a lot, to go off of. With the consideration of whether that card is still sealed in a pack, somebody's got it in an attic tucked away somewhere. They'll never bring it to light. I think what I would look at is how much does a box of that go for now? How much does a case of that go for?
I think it's worth probably $5 to $6 million.
I think the LeBron James Upper Deck Logo Man's worth about $3 to $4 million at least. My guess is like 5 million.
Well over $1 million.
It has to be like 5 to 10 million. Gosh, that card looks amazing. I'll be entirely honest.
I would have to go with in the neighborhood of 1.5 to $2 million.
Now that you know what the market is and you heard what they think it's worth, we get to our question of the week, which is how much do you think the LeBron James 101 card is worth? Put it in the comments below. I want to know what you guys think. Remember, this card is still out there. It is missing. It is the lottery ticket that no one has found. So the question is, how much is it actually worth? Is still up for grabs. But we still have one more question to answer in this week's episode. Do you want to find this card? That is the question we're asking right now. But before we get into that answer, please, if you liked this episode, hit the subscribe button and smash the like button, because YouTube is really hard on these videos and I would like this to go viral. But let's get to the answer of the question. Do you want to find this card? Now, the problem is, where can you find it? Like, if you want to get this card, you want to pull it and you want to sell it for, let's say, whatever, 1 million to 5 million. Now, personally, I think this card is worth about $3 million. That's a pretty good lottery ticket. And I did another episode a couple weeks ago called Can You Actually Retire on Sports Cards? And I don't know about you, but I think I could retire on $3 million. So is it worth it to actually go and find these boxes? Now, the boxes are going for anywhere between $4,000 to maybe $10,000. And so that's the question. Would you spend $4,000 or $10,000 on a lottery ticket for the chance to get a $3 million card? I don't know, and that's the question that we have now in the hobby, because this is now a lottery. And so Mega Millions only cost you $2, but these boxes are going to cost you thousands of dollars. And if you buy one box, what are the odds of you actually pulling this card? So I think you're probably going to need like 10 to 20 boxes. So multiply that out. If it's $10,000 a box, that's $100,000 for 10 boxes and $200,000 for 20 boxes. So would you spend $200,000 for the chance, again, I don't know what the odds are, but the chance to get a $3 million card? That's what you guys need to answer. And before we're done with this episode, I want to hear from you. And we got your viewer comments coming up next, because if you're new to the channel, I take a look at all the viewer comments and I pull ones that I can then respond every single week. Let's get to your viewer comment. My channel has really started to grow over the last couple weeks, and so if you're new, this is the viewer comment section, and I go over the comments that you guys make on the videos, and I have a ton to do this week, so I'm not going to delay. Let's get to the first one. This one is from Anthony Carducci, and he said, okay, here's the $1 million question. How do you find the right cards? And I want everybody to know I love what Hofbrau did. He commented on one of your comments. That's what I want you guys to do. I want you to start looking at the comments and then answering other people. I want the discussion. So here we go. This is what Hofbrau said. Find out most popular sets and most popular players. Certain iconic cards to do well too. 1986 MJ Topps Chrome from 1990s to 2000, Prison from 2012 to present, Best RPA Flawless or National Treasures, and Patch Autos from the 2000s Upper Deck Ultimate Collection and Exquisite. First of all, I want to say great question from Anthony. Second, great answer from Hofbrau. I'm going to just put a little bit of a caveat on that answer. He's correct in most of that answer. I want to make that clear. He's very correct. Those are really the most valuable sets. But there's some new stuff that's out there. So if you're looking at modern, like what's the most valuable modern stuff, I think you really need to look at the patch autos that are limited. And be careful when I say limited, not that there's 15 different variations. So when you do your research on modern cards, really look for that kind of a thing. Like, how many parallels are there? And a parallel just basically means that they printed the exact same photo in different colors. or with different numbers. So they put a 1 of 15 on it, but it's the same picture 1 of 20, or the same picture 1 of 50. It's like, why? That's not like rare. Like, you just use the same photo over and over again. Like, we're not foolish. I mean, some people are, but we're not on this channel. So again, great comment, great answer, and I like that you answered another person's comment. Let's get to the second one. This one is from Crazy General 30, and this is what he said. I can't even get my hands on boxes of Optic or Prism, so don't even have the option to grade a modern card. I collect the products that are less popular, like Phoenix. Okay, great question or great comment. Yes, there are a whole bunch of new types of sets. There's Phoenix, there's Fire, there's I guess Blaster, like I don't know. They've stained glass. Like, there's a whole bunch of new product that they put out there. So just be careful. Honestly, the best way to buy cards is first figure out which teams that you like, figure out which sports you like, and then go and say, okay, which are the players that I want to collect. That's probably the best way to get started in the hobby. So start with sport, then go to team, then go to player. And then just look at the cards that you like the most. In all honesty, sometimes the best way to get started is to look at the least expensive cards. Look at the cheapest cards for your players and just collect the coolest ones, the coolest cards that you like. You don't have to break the bank to do this hobby. Again, it is a lottery, as this whole episode is about, but you don't have to chase after the lottery tickets. You can still just collect the cards that you like. All right, let's get to the next comment. This one is from Frenetic Sports Cards. And I appreciate it, Frenetics. You do a lot of really great comments. So here we go. This is what he said. Man, I can't imagine thinking I would make a strategy retiring on sports cards. I'll be putting money in my Roth IRAs, working toward my pension, try to pay off my house. If sports cards contribute, that's icing on the cake. Frenetics, that is a really good comment. And I want to say that I legitimately was like, I was a little skeptical myself when I asked the question in the mirror. I was like, can you really retire on sports cards? And when I started to do the research, I was like, holy cow, you actually could retire on sports cards. Like, you can make $1 million on sports cards. It's not out of the realm of possibilities anymore. If you were going to try to make $1 million back then, like when I started in the 80s and the 90s, yeah, it was really hard. Like I said, the most expensive card at that time was the 1952 Topps Mantle, which only cost $50,000. You can't retire on $50K. But that card now is worth $40 million. You can retire on 40. So I understand if you're looking from the outside, I don't own any cards, how could I get there? Yeah, there's a lot of work. This is a grind. You have to put in the research, you have to put in the time, you have to put in the follow through, you have to be willing to put in the work. But if you want to retire off sports cards in 2025, there is actually a way to do it. And that's all that I was saying in the video. I appreciate the comment. Again, thanks, Frenetic. All right, let's get to the next one. This one is from Joseph Bowers. He says, new cards never hold their value. All right. So I put out a whole bunch of stuff for anybody that's new. So I do a full show on Friday. That's at 6 p.m. on the East Coast, 3 p.m. on the West Coast. And then I put out clips, if I can find clips, throughout the week. And so this was one of the shorts. And what I was saying is, in terms of grading modern cards, one of the issues that we have right now with value, again, people are thinking of investing in cards. And basically, the only way to invest in anything is if you buy something that it has to be worth more in the future. That's the only way to invest, right? So you're buying something that you're going to say it's going to be worth more in the future. You can invest in stocks, you can invest in bonds, you can invest in housing, real estate, or you can invest in art. The question is it going to be worth more in the future? And unfortunately, if you invest in modern sports cards, the answer is probably no. And the reason for it is because everybody's getting their cards graded. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, except for the fact that in the past, vintage cards were never graded. So when you go to get them graded now, there's very few high-end graded cards. There are only 3 1952 Topps Mantle cards in the world. 3. That doesn't mean there's only 3 Mantles. There's thousands of Mantle cards, but there's only 3 that are graded PSA 10s. And that's the reason why they're worth so much money. Today, there's thousands of PSA 10s. So what does that mean? It means that your cards are not going to be worth more in the future. So what I was recommending to people do, now again, I am a very small channel, so unless this goes totally viral and everybody watches this video, again, people are making a mistake. You're grading your modern cards. You should not grade your modern cards. If you do, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. For anybody that wants to invest in sports cards, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because the more cards you grade right now, the less they'll be worth in the future. And whatever you're paying for them, you're overpaying, because as the years go by, the cards are just going to become less and less valuable. There's nothing else. It's just mathematics. It's all it is. It's like, I shouldn't be saying anything that's controversial, although it is controversial. It's just math. That's all it is. So hopefully that answers the question. Let's get to the next one. This one is also, so actually I appreciate it. Joseph Bauer, you have the second comment. I didn't even notice that. Here's the second thing he said. Sell the PSA 10 immediately. Don't wait 10 years. So there's a confusion on the comment. So I want to say this. The confusion is, I'm not saying wait 10 years to sell your card. I'm saying don't grade your card, modern card, for 10 years. So if you have, let's pull out this. So this is a Julio Rodriguez, not worth much money. Right? So I'll pull it out just so we have an idea. This is a Julio Rodriguez. There is no reason. Now, obviously, I know people are going to be like, why would you grade that card? It's not worth anything. I understand that. Here's my point. My point is you shouldn't grade any modern card for 10 years. Any. Let me see if I can get a rookie card, because that'll actually really give like the idea. So here we go. Here's a Cody Bellinger patch card. Okay, there is no reason to grade this card. No reason, and that's because in the future there's too many of these cards. There's too many. And so you want to allow these cards to degrade. You want to allow them. I know you're like, but I don't want it to degrade. No, you actually do. You want the cards to degrade, because then when someone gets it graded later on, again, you have to wait. And that's a problem in this country. Like, people have no patience anymore. No one can actually delay gratification. So you have to wait 10 years to grade your cards, because then the number of 10s, either SGC or PSA, the number of 10s will be far lower than the number of 10s today. And that's what you want. Because if there's only 5 10s, that means that they're going to be worth a lot more money. That's good for you and this card, because it will pull the raw card number up. What is a Mickey Mantle Topps 52 raw card worth? It's worth thousands and thousands of dollars. You can actually sell an ungraded 52 Mantle for around $9,000 to $10,000. Ungraded, in any condition. I mean, it can be beat up and you're still going to get thousands of dollars. That's the point, is because the 10s are worth 40. So when that's worth 40, it pulls everything up to value. And that's what you want. The best example, I keep doing this over and over, but for anybody that's not watching these episodes, so the 1989 Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, okay, that PSA 10 is worth $2,000. That is it. $2,000. What is it going to be worth in the future? About $2,000. So what are the raw cards worth? They're worth about 50 to 60 bucks. That's it. They will never be worth more, and that's the end of the story. If there were only a handful of PSA 10 Griffies, only a handful, again, there's about 4,000 PSA 10 Griffey rookies right now, 4,000. That's the pop count. So if there were only a handful, let's say 5 to 6 of those, then they would probably be worth more like $40,000 each, which would make the raw card worth around $100 to $200. That's double in value, and that's the point. Hopefully that all makes sense. Let's get to the next comment. This one is from Pokemon TV Unlimited. So he says, you can't control what other people do, so don't base your strategies on what others do or might do. It doesn't matter when you grade your cards, the grade matters. All right, Pokemon. First of all, I'm going to give you that is actually the wrong strategy completely, and there is a Nobel Prize that proves you're wrong. So if anybody has watched the movie A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe and Jennifer Connelly, it is about Professor Nash from Princeton who won a Nobel Prize in, I think it was economics. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, his theory or game theory was on the fact that your strategy in order to be successful was based on knowing everyone else's strategy in the game. I'm sorry, Pokemon, but you just tried to contradict a Nobel winning prize theory. You're wrong. That's actually not how to make money. Now, if you don't care about making money, again, you just want to collect, absolutely follow what Pokemon said. You don't need to worry about what other people are doing. If you're just here to buy cards that you like, okay, so Mike Schmidt, Don Mattingly, okay, we got Clark Kellogg, let's see if I got a Sportflix, Jose Canseco right there. If all you care about is buying cards that you want to keep, you are a collector, then absolutely what Pokemon is saying is 100% correct. Do not worry about what other people are doing. What's the point of worrying about what other people are doing? But if you're in this to make money, like if you are legit in this to make money, then you absolutely need to know what everyone else is doing. And what everyone else is doing may actually be hurting you. And I'm telling you, if you grade modern cards, you are hurting yourself and the hobby. There's too many 10s, there's too many 9s, there's too many 8s. The problem is that all the values are going to be suppressed. If you have 1,000 PSA 10s, it can't be worth $1 million. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. And that's the problem. If you have 1,000 PSA 10s or more, those cards will never be worth $1 million. And that's your retirement, what we're talking about. That's where you get to make money on this. So stop grading your cards in the first 10 years. Now, I know I'm only talking to the couple thousand people that are watching this video, but if you guys tell everybody else, hey, every time you grade a modern card, you're lowering the value in the future, maybe it'll start to catch on and people will go, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. If there's too many PSA 10s, then none of these cards are going to be worth anything. None of these cards are going to be worth anything, so stop grading them. You're much better off going after these raw cards, okay? You're much better off going after these raw cards and letting them degrade. Again, you won't pay as much. Isn't that good? In order to keep the prices down now, in order for the prices to go up in the future, stop grading your cards. You're doing it in reverse. You're grading them now at a high price, and then they're going to be worth less in the future. You're going in the opposite direction, and that's not called investing. That's called, I don't know what it's called being foolish. All right, let's get to the last comment here. This is from Philly Joe, an OG subscriber. So Philly, what do you got to say? I was always aware of Sports Card Radio Bit, and I love it. I don't care if they did or didn't sell out, doesn't matter. Also, who really cares at the end of the day about cardboard with pictures of men on them? Philly Joe, I appreciate your comment. I did put out an IG reel as well as a YouTube short on the real story about Sports Card Radio and why they're gone. Just so people know the real story, the facts, what is the truth. If you like to know what goes on in this hobby, first of all, Put questions down below. I will do the research. I will find out the answers. If you want to know what actually happened to Sports Card Radio, go to my Instagram and watch this reel. That will give you the full story. It is literally a 60-second story. It's not that long, but you'll now know what actually happened. Want to say thank you to everybody who made a comment. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe now and smash the like button. And that's it. This is Doc saying, have a great weekend.